Om Shri Sai Ram. Shri Satya Sai Satcharitra, Tapovanam, Chapter 5. Resurrection of Dharma. Revitalization of temples Badrinath, Varanasi, Somnath, Dwaraka, Sri Sailam, Pandharpur. Resuscitation of Vedic Dharma. Who else knows the right Muhurtam, the Yajna Kalasham, Ayudha Puja? Whenever there is a languishing of dharma, I create myself, for it is part of my primal resolution or sankalpa to protect the spiritual structure of the universe. I lay aside my formless essence and assume a name and a form suited to the purpose for which I come. Whenever evil threats to vanquish good, I have to come and save it from decline. Baba. Revitalization of temples Badrinath. Bhagavan has often proclaimed that one of the important purposes of his incarnation is the revitalization of the divine potency of deities in ancient temples. As a part of the program on 11th June 1961, Baba set out on a journey to the famous Badrinath temple situated in the Himalayas in Uttar Pradesh. He was accompanied by his parents as well as several devotees. Sri Burgula Ramakrishna Rao, Governor of Uttar Pradesh, joined the pilgrims at Haridwar. Baba quipped with them, "Normally devotees go to Badri to see Lord Narayana there. You are going there in the company of Lord Narayana to see the idols installed in the temple." Baba described the spiritual glory of the Badrinath temple thus: the great ascetic Adi Shankaracharya prayed to Lord Shiva and received from him 5 lingams. He installed them, one each at Badrinath in Uttar Pradesh in the Himalayas, Puri in Orissa, Sringeri in Karnataka, Dwaraka in Gujarat and Chidambaram in Tamil Nadu. As nearly 200 devotees watched in fascination in the Badrinath temple, Baba waved his open hand and materialized a plate of gold that held 1,000-petaled golden lotus. He placed the golden lotus in another plate made of silver. By another movement of his hand, he produced a lingam. He explained that it was Netra Lingam, installed underneath the idol of Lord Badrinath by Adi Shankaracharya himself 1200 years ago. While the idol is visible to visitors and worshipped by them every day, the lingam lay concealed ever since its installation. Only now was it brought to view by Baba for worship. Netram in Sanskrit means eye. True to its name, the Netra Lingam clearly showed a wide open eye. Baba placed it in golden lotus. With another wave of his hand, he now produced a vessel of silver filled with the sacred waters of Gangotri, the place of origin of the holy river Ganga, the Ganges. Baba touched the bottom of the vessel with his finger, and when he withdrew it, water began to fall on the Netra Lingam, Abhishekam. The touch of his finger apparently made a hole in the bottom of the vessel. When the Abhishekam was over, Sri Sai Baba shook his hand and gold and silver flowers flowed out and covered the Netra Lingam as Abhishekam of flowers. Lord Shiva is reputed to be particularly fond of tummi flowers, which are white in color and very, very tiny, roughly 5 millimeters long. When the temple priest mentioned this to Baba, he materialized a heap of fresh tummi flowers. The Netralingam was now worshipped with those blossoms. Bhagavan revitalized the Netralingam through this worship and, with his miraculous powers, restored it to its original invisible place beneath the idol of Lord Badrinath. On return to Puttaparthi, Baba addressed the devotees who could not make the trip to Badrinath. "Do not feel disappointed," he told them, "that you could not undertake the pilgrimage and missed out on the spiritual rewards thereof. Lord Sri Narayana is surely here beside you, within you, right in front of you. Have this Narayana's darshan to your heart's content. Why do you crave for the darshan of the idol form of Narayana, situated at a far off place? Worship this living form of Narayana, who is right before your eyes at this very place, with devotion and dedication, and attain spiritual bliss. Varanasi. There is another ancient place of worship which received similar grace and re-infusion of spiritual efficacy at the divine hands of Bhagavan. This time it was a trip to Varanasi on 2nd April 1961. Swami's parents and Sri Burgula Ramakrishna Rao, then Governor of Uttar Pradesh, and others accompanied him. On nearing the lingam of Lord Vishveshwara, the Master of the Universe, Baba produced Kailasa Vibhuti in his usual way and applied it on the lingam's face in 3 broad bands. He also materialized sandalwood paste and used it to decorate the lingam with a broad circular dot in the center of the Vibhuti bands. Then he created a golden ornament resplendent with 3 circles of glittering diamonds, rubies and emeralds. He also placed it in the midst of the dot of the sandalwood paste. In the wink of an eye, the piece remained stuck there firmly. Lord Vishwanatha, the Lord of Varanasi, looked all the more glorious. Somanath. On the invitation of Rajamata, Maharani of Jamnagar, Baba visited the Somanath temple in Gujarat. Soma means Sa plus Uma, that is, Lord Shiva together with his consort Uma, also known as Parvati. It is well known in history that King Muhammad of Ghazni invaded India several times. He ransacked this rich temple time and again and carried away huge hoards of jewelry of gold and diamonds. On the last raid, he uprooted the majestic Shiva Lingam and looted the large quantities of precious stones embedded underneath the deity. In place of the original lingam thus desecrated, the temple priest installed a new stone lingam and ever since carried on the prescribed sacred services to the newly anointed deity. Digvijaya Sahib, the Maharaj of Jamnagar, was keen to restore the temple to its pristine glory. It entailed expense of enormous labor as well as resources. Despite these problems, he persisted with his mission and finally crowned the beauty of the temple by erecting a mighty tower named Digvijaya Gopuram, Temple Tower. It was inaugurated by Bhagavan Sai Baba. Entering the sanctum sanctorum of the temple, he materialized golden bilva leaves. Bilva leaves are considered to be particularly dear to Lord Shiva and showered them on the 4 feet high lingam as Abhishekam. He announced that at the base of the lingam that is visible, there was an invisible Jyotirlingam, effulgent lingam. By his divine will, he brought out the lingam into his hands and showed it to the gathering. It was shimmering bright like lightning. After revitalizing it with his divine touch, he did not return it to its earlier invisible abode as he had done at Badrinath. Instead, he declared, "From now on, this temple shall ever remain free from any attack. No despoiler from any quarter shall lay his evil hand on this temple. There is no danger to it any more. I am therefore making this lingam freely available for public darshan and worshipped by devotees." He then materialized a silver Peetham pedestal and installed the lingam thereon. Dwaraka. During that trip, Baba and the attendant devotees reached Dwaraka, the abode of Lord Krishna. Swami made his way into the temple precincts and sanctified them with the touch of his divine feet. Lord Sai Krishna of the present age gave darshan to the thousands of people gathered. He then proceeded to the seashore followed by devotees, asking them to sit around him on the sands. He made a small mound of sand, inserted his hand into it and pulled out a golden figure of Lord Krishna. This wondrous event has made the Dwaraka temple replete with divine potency, declared Bhagavan Sai Baba. Sri Sailam, another ancient temple that attained spiritual rejuvenation at the divine touch of Sri Sathya Sai Baba, is the temple of Lord Mallikarjuna, Lord Shiva in Sri Sailam in Andhra Pradesh. Bhagavan visited this temple on 5th January 1963. As at the Somnath temple, here too Baba entered the sanctum sanctorum, produced golden bilva leaves and golden tummi flowers, and showered them on Lord Mallikarjuna in Abhishekam. Pandharpur. On 13th June 1965, Baba visited Pandharpur in Maharashtra, where Lord Krishna is worshipped as Panduranga Vitthal. As he entered the inner sanctum and had darshan of Lord Panduranga and his consort Rukmini Devi, he created an opal gem set necklace and adorned the neck of the goddess. These are occasions when Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba visited important places of worship and recharged and revitalized the spiritual potency of the presiding deities. Every temple is, after all, the sacred abode of Swami himself. Human body is but the seat of God. It is a temple in itself. The possessor of the human body is truly God. Every human being should ponder over the inner meaning and significance of the form and structure of the temple. Resuscitation of Vedic Dharma. A few months after returning from Badrinath, Bhagavan decided that a yajna should be performed at Prashantinilayam. At his instructions, several Vedic scholars from northern India and also from the area of Konasima in Andhra Pradesh gathered at Puttaparthi. Baba gave directions for the performance of the yajna strictly in accordance with Vedic scriptures. Baba announced, as a part of the mission of my incarnation, I am laying the foundation for the proper care of the cow and the Brahmin, for the sustenance of the Vedas, and through them for the resuscitation of Vedic Dharma itself. The planned yajna, for which hectic preparations were soon underway, was named Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yajna. The proceedings were spread over 7 days, Saptaha, synchronizing with the Dasara festivities in October 1961. Veda Purusha, the presiding deity, was Baba himself. Distinguished scholars of the Vedas and the Vedic rituals were in charge of the various activities. Veda Samrat Brahmashri Cherukumilli Kamavadhanilu was the overall supervisor. Sarva Adhyaksha, Amnaya Artha Vachaspati, Brahmashri Uppuluri Ganapati Shastri was to preside over the seminar meetings to be held on Vedas and other spiritual and theological subjects. Eminent scholars and Ghana parties, Sri Bulusu Appanna Shastri, Sri Kadiyala Sitarama Shastri, Sri Kuppa Lakshmavadhani, Sri Varanasi Subramanya Shastri, Sri Kuppa Bairagi Shastri, Sri Vemparala Suryanarayana Shastri, Sri Kompella Ammanna Shastri, and Sri Hota Venkatramana Shastri participated in that glorious ritual. It was truly a galaxy of the brightest hue in the firmament of Vedic Dharma. The proceedings comprised Parthiva Shivalinga Archana, Mantra Japam, Parayanam of the holy text of Ramayanam, Sri Mahabhagavat, Sri Devi Bhagavatam, Sri Bhashyam and others, and also Surya Namaskarams and Navagraha Japams. Parayanam of the Rig, Yajur and Sama Vedas was a veritable feast to the ears of the devotees, and to crown it all, the Atirudra Yajna was performed with utmost attention to the minutest detail of the prescribed ritual. The entire 7-day proceedings were immensely satiating and spiritually rewarding to the vast concourse. On the concluding day, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba gave a discourse very significantly. He addressed the assembly, Atma Swarupulara, O embodiments of this self. He went on, the purpose of my incarnation is to establish Dharma and thereby secure peace and equanimity and happiness to all people in every land. My Sankalp knows no going back. Nobody can resist the onward march of my mission. It is bound to triumph. This is certain, absolutely certain. In my earlier incarnation, I had made it clear that any and every yajna performed for fulfilling narrow personal desires doesn't result in true well-being. Only Jnana Yajna, which aims at the promotion of universal well-being, is the best yajna. Yajna stands for sacrifice, Tyaga. Tyaga can only be selflessness. The Vedas prescribe that yajna should be performed with a view to obtaining grace of the gods. Materials like ghee and other edibles are to be offered as the Vedas lay down to gods through Agni, the god of fire. Agni passes them on to the gods they are intended for. Small-minded persons may well doubt this. Is it true? Can such a thing be possible? We go to the local post office and send money to specified individuals. The money is indeed reaching them, be they residents near or far away. Then why doubt the Vedic assertion? The gods are pleased and satisfied and gives us timely rain, crops flourish and give us food. Food gives lives and sustains it. Thus, yajna is at very root of universal well-being. Yajna originates in karma. Karma takes its birth from Brahman. Brahman is in the form of Akshara Purusha. Pranavam is the very form of that Akshara. And Pranavam is the root of Vedas. That is why it has been laid down that a yajna which is performed and directed in my name of and my form is the most suitable one for humans. Those who have partaken of the fruits, prasadam, of this yajna will ever be content and happy in their worldly life, and when they depart this world attain merger with the supreme divine principle. There is absolutely no doubt about it. On a different occasion, while speaking during the celebrations of the yajna, Bhagavan said, ages ago people forgot the noble principles of sacrifice, selflessness and loving service. Evil tendencies like greed, avarice and selfishness flourished. The Vedas assumed the form of a black deer and ran away into the dense reaches of a forest. The great rishis and Vedic scholars went in search of it, but all their efforts failed. They could retrieve only its skin. In remembrances of that incident, while performing yajna, as prescribed in the Vedas, the Ritviks, priests engaged in offering oblations to the accompaniment of incantations. Even today don black deer skin and sit on a similar skin while offering oblations to Agni. To the outward eye, it is just a piece of skin, charmam, but viewed from the angle of yajna, it is sharmam, which means happiness and spiritual bliss. Those who take active part in the performance of the yajna experience bliss themselves and also spread bliss to the whole world. The ultimate goal of any yajna performed in Prashantanilayam is sacrifice. In other words, spiritual bliss which takes shape out of total renunciation of the fruits of karma. Such yajna is not meant to benefit merely any single individual or country. Its purpose is to bring about universal well-being. At the conclusion of every yajna and after the final rite of valedictory offering, that is Purnahuti, offering to Agni whatever materials remain out of what had been initially collected for the yajna, Swami personally sprinkled the holy water of the ritual on the thousands of people present at the venue, thereby bestowing on them spiritual absolution. Who else knows the right muhurtam? Apart from renowned Vedic scholars and experts in Vedic rituals, those proficient in chanting Vedic mantras with proper intonation and accuracy were in charge of the Jnana Yajna. Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba fixed the Muhurtam, auspicious moment for commencement of the holy program, as 9:30 am on 1st October 1961. The scholars made their own calculations with reference to the planetary positions and astronomy and decided that 7:30 am would be the most appropriate time for entering the Yajna Shala, venue of the Yajnam, and commencing the proceedings. When they placed their opinion before Swami, he said, I think 9:30 a.m. would be the most auspicious moment. Give it a little more thought. Among the scholars entrusted with the task were Sri Varanasi Subramanya Shastri, Sri Cherugumilli Kamavadhani and Sri Kuppa Bhairagi Shastri, who were the only ones aware of the Sai spirituality. Whatever that might be, the scholars informed Swami again 7:30 a.m. would be the most appropriate time. Swami agreed. Did they notice a twinkle in his eyes and smile on his lips? On the appointed day, the Ritviks and Vedic servants had their spiritual bath in the river Chitravati and completed their Sandhya Vandana, morning prayers to the sun god, by 6:30 a.m. Clad in the silk clothes presented by Swami and holding silver vessels filled with holy water, they started for the Yajnashala exactly at 7 a.m. so as to reach the Yajnashala at 7:30 a.m. sharp. Suddenly the skies opened up. There was torrential rain accompanied by thunder and lightning. The downpour continued with respite till 9 a.m. The river Chitravati was in flood and the group of priests got stuck up there. Although the muhurtam set by them had been washed away by rains and flood, they were happy to acknowledge Swami's all-knowing wisdom. The skies were clear and everything became normal by 9 a.m. As the auspicious muhurtam originally fixed by him approached, Bhagavan Sri Satyasai made his way to the Yajnashala, leading a horde of Ritviks reciting sacred Vedic hymns. Hundreds of devotees were heartily singing bhajan songs. Devotional instrumental music appropriate to the splendid occasion was being played. Precisely at 9:30 a.m. the muhurtam, which had been finalized by him, Baba entered the venue and set in motion the proceedings of the week-long yajna. The Yajna Kalasham. A day or two before the yajna was to commence, Swami summoned Brahmashri Shivarama Bairagi Shastri, who was to head the team of Ritviks. He told him the yajna should be performed with strict adherence to prescribed tenets. As regards material, nothing should be wanting. Well before the yajna is to commence, carefully prepare a complete list of items required and give it to me. I will see that everything is provided. Sri Shastri made out a long list in consultation with his fellow Ritviks. Whatever was listed was procured and placed at their disposal. Nevertheless, just about 5 minutes before Swami was scheduled to leave for the Yajnashala, Sri Bairagi Shastri suddenly recollected that most important item, the Yajna Kalasham, the principal vessel which occupies pride of place in the proceedings, had been inadvertently omitted from his list of materials. But who would bring this serious mistake to Swami's notice at this late juncture? And how to tell Swami? He was in unbearable torment. There was no time to lose. He collected all courage, decided to take responsibility on his own unfortunate shoulders, and informed Swami. He prayed to Swami to pardon him for his unpardonable lapse. Swami was his usual merciful self. With soft words of reassurance, he gently said, I had asked you to prepare the list carefully well before the yajna. You have only 5 minutes now. He went into his room and within 3 minutes emerged with a silver kalasham in his hand. It displayed exquisite craftsmanship worthy of the great occasion and was adorned with images of several deities. Swami told the astonished Shastri, during my incarnation as Shirdi Sai, I kept it in the place of Chincholi rulers. It was lying there in a room full of old and discarded pieces. I have just gone there, searched for it and brought it here, which has taken all this time. Now that this is conforming to the specifications laid down in scriptures, go ahead and commence the proceedings on time. Etched on that vessel were the initials Sa Ba in Hindi, indicating obviously that it had belonged to Sai Baba. Several years later, when he was giving a speech in the presence of Swami in auditorium, Sri Bairagi Shastri recounted this engrossing incident in detail. Ayudha Puja. Traditionally, on the Vijayadashami day during the Dasara celebrations, weapons of war are worshipped. It is called Ayudha Puja. Ayudha means weapon. Baba says the 6 evil tendencies which develop man's nature and act as hindrance to his spiritual progress, that is kama, desire, krodha, anger, lobha, avarice, miserliness, moha, infatuation, mada, pride and arrogance, and matsarya, jealousy, should also be likewise worshipped, but here there is a subtle difference. Their worship consists of turning them towards God so that instead of obstructing the aspirant's progress, they would actually help it. Thus, the very tendencies which are ordinarily considered to be evil are metamorphosized into good. How can it be possible? Let us hear the Baba says. Kama is intense, compulsive desire. Direct it towards God. It then changes into a craving to have darshan of the Lord, to win His favor, to obtain His grace. Kama takes the shape of eagerness to reach God. Krodha means anger. Turn it towards God and ask angrily, why has He not come to me? How long should I keep waiting? What fault I have committed? Why does He not bestow His grace on me? Hold it all against Him and persist with your impatience. Your anger is transformed into determination, a positive beneficial trait in your life. Lobha means miserliness. When you turn it towards God, you begin to feel intense possessiveness. You feel He belongs to me and to me only. He is my Lord and I belong to no one else. Your mind cries out. It intensely desires to get hold of God, to possess Him totally and exclusively. Lobha transmutes itself into the intense craving for God and helps one to hold on to Him with single-minded possessiveness. Moha means infatuation, loss of one's sense of discrimination. When it is directed towards God, one feels that one cannot live without God. Life in this world holds no charm, has no meaning any longer without the company of God. Then the mind refuses to hear to reason, cares for no one. It turns crazy in its longing for God. Moha transforms into blind and compulsive devotion to God. Mada means pride coupled with arrogance. When you turn it towards God, you feel, I have the support and grace of God. I have great clout. None can dare to cross my path. I fear nothing. How can God desert me? Such thinking changes Mada into faith and trust in God. Matsarya means jealousy. When it is directed towards God, you will feel, my God, my own Lord is being enticed away by somebody. He is distancing me. Such thoughts make you agitated and you find that your Matsarya is soon transformed into overpowering desire for closeness with God. Lions in a circus dutifully obey the ringmaster. Similarly, if man's 6 evil tendencies are subordinated to their master, they lose their natural wildness and become subdued. This is the true meaning of significance of Ayudha Puja. Some of the devotees brought pearls, corals and gold to be offered as oblation in the Yajna Gundam, ceremonial fire in which ritual offerings are made to Agni during Yajna. Swami exhorted them, make offerings of your gunas in the Yajna Gundam. Those are the precious pearls and jewelry you will do well to give up. When performing Yajna, one should aim at achieving a higher goal of elevating one's soul. That really is the glorious fruition of the arduous process of Yajna. Om Shri Satya Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Shanti Shanti Shantihi. End of chapter 5.